What's up guys, Joe here, welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with more T-Mobile Bianchi here on PCM 2020, and we have a really fun one today because we're finishing off Season 2, taking a look back at our performance this season. We're then going to look at all the transfers we have heading into Season 3, where we'll preview next season as well. So I cannot wait to get into this. And so let's start this off by looking at our current squad on screen. We're still led by the likes of Moscon, Zabul, Taburi developing really nicely as we know. But let's take a look back at our squad from the start of the season so we can really picture the team's development as a whole. And now we're really becoming a very well-rounded team, if you ask me, certainly compared to where we were at the beginning of the year. And if we go to this tab right here, we can see Gianni Moscon and Rick Zabul have 18 victories between the two of them. They're first and second respectively in the Conti rankings too, and they have been the real two leaders of our squad this season. So first, let's focus on Gianni Moscon. We signed him from Ineos. We knew it was a risk at the beginning of the year, certainly with some of his tendencies and really his mentality so far in his career, but it's been a fresh start for him at T-Mobile Bianchi. He's got a bigger role in the team than he had at Ineos, and it's really worked. Top 5 in the World Championships, 2 stages at the Dauphiné. He won Strada Bianca, he won Valenciana, a bunch of other races as well. What a year for the Italian. And Rick Zabul too, 11 victories it has been. He sadly didn't get a stage win at the Dauphiné, but he won Driedagsbrug de Panna. Of course, he won the national championships ahead of Pascal Ackermann. 2 stages at his home tour, the Deutschland Tour as well. What a year again it has been for Rick Zabul. And a shout out as well to Gio Aliotti. He's only 71 rated, as you see on this screen, but he's had 3 victories and he's pretty well ranked as well in the Conti rankings. He won the Vuelta of Burgos ahead of the likes of Dylan Toons. Michael Landa was there as well, and he really is, I think, the best pure climber at our team right now. Looking back as well at our sponsor confidence this year, we've had a really good year. I think we had a few objectives where we didn't even go to the races. We didn't even get close to Roubaix. I don't think we got top 25 there. But however, we got most of these objectives and the sponsor happiness is 100%, so we can't complain. So next up, let's take a quick look at the season as a whole. Of course, we're yet to make our Grand Tour debut. Hopefully, we'll be doing that in Season 3. But we had Richard Carapaz, Primoz Roglic and Emmanuel Buchmann winning the 3 Grand Tours this season. I think 3 different winners as well from Season 1, where we had Dumoulin, Bernal and Kruijswijk. So we've had 6 different winners out of 6 Grand Tours so far, with Roglic finally claiming that Tour de France ahead of Bauke Mollema. A great performance by him. And also I've noticed Wout van Aert was on the podium at La Vuelta a España. Oh my, what a performance by Wout van Aert there. Look how many stages. He won 5 stages and a top 3 on the podium. My oh my, what a rider. Anyhow, I'll quickly scroll through the rest of the tours. You can see right here who won those races. Taco van der Hoorn, a surprise winner of the Bing Bang Classic, if you ask me. Egan Bernal and TJ Van Garderen are the rainbow jersey wearers next season. Just crazy to see. We had Kemner as well, so close in the road race, of course, joining our team next year. You can see a few of the national champions, and to me, of course, Rick Zabul stands out. We also had this Spanish fella winning it for Comesa. I think he may be a new gen, not quite sure. He's 22 years old. Anyhow, we progress forwards. You can see the winners of the monuments too, with Alaphilippe taking Il Lombardia, Groenewegen somehow winning Milano San Remo. Then we can see the other classics too. I can't see any real surprises right here off the bat. Alaphilippe, Mollema winning the same kind of races you would expect, with maybe Richie Porte a surprise winner of La Flèche Wallonne. And there you go, that is kind of the rounds up of the big races this season. And so in Super Prestige, that leaves Jumbo-Visma the best team on the season, just ahead of Quickstep and Ineos. And we are in the top 4. What a season. We beat Bora Hansgrohe and plenty of other World Tour teams as well. This kind of super prestige rankings, I think, combines World Tour and Conti races. Of course, we're not a World Tour team, so we haven't gone to many World Tour races, which does mean we're outside the top 20 here. And it's again Jumbo-Visma winning those rankings. But looking at the Conti standings, we are the best continental team on the year, ahead of Circus and Uno X. In terms of victories as well, a total of 36 victories this season, 4th place again, with the Coin Quickstep, the only team to take over 50 victories. And a quick look at the individual standings. No surprise to see Primoz Roglic heading up the World Tour standings. If we go to Super Prestige, Gianni Moscon is first in these rankings, ahead of the likes of Roglic, Yates de Milan and Bookman. And that is just massive. I'm not quite sure how fair that is, how it combines the Conti and the World Tour races, but I'm not complaining at all. We also have Rick Zabel in the top 10. If we take a quick look at Roglic then, his main win was the Tour de France. He won the Dauphiné as well. Of course, we were there at that race. You can see his other results, a few podiums too. We have Adam Yates, who was second in the World Tour standings. He was second at La Vuelta, and a good season for him, winning Catalonia and being there or thereabouts in plenty of other races. And then Bauke Mollema on the podium at the Tour de France was his big result. Also winning Paris-Nice as well. Great season with another San Sebastian win for the Dutchman. Quick look at Remco as well then, because why not? You can see how much he has developed right now. What a rider, still 21 years old, but really his results don't quite back up his incredible stats, at least not for me just yet. Only a top 10 at the Giro. And I do want to take a look at young Lennart Kemna's performance as well. A top 5 at the Tour de France and a stage win at the Tour de France too. He also got a top 10 at La Vuelta a España. So young Lennart Kemna has had a great season before he joins us next year. And so I do want to take a quick look at these kind of season stats in the archives so we can compare this to last year very quickly. And you can see it is Jumbo-Visma who have won the standings on both occasions as well. We rise up to first place in the Conti standings. You can see from 2020 we were second despite not being a Conti Pro team. We're now well in the lead of those standings with Moscon on 2,000 points, and that is just behind Nacer Bouhanni in 2020. But again, if we take a look here, I've noticed this. Nacer Bouhanni, 24 victories this season, and he had 27 in season 1. What is this man on? He is an incredible rider. He just sweeps up all these kind of Conti Pro HC races that Arkea are riding. Unbelievable performance by the Frenchman. And so I do believe this is the section that you guys have been waiting for, because we're going to go through all the transfers really from the season so we can see how the cycling world is unfolding as we head to 2022. Of course, we know we are signing Lennart Kemna, Giulio Ciccone, Pronsky as well, developing very nicely. Brenner, Jacobs, Gamper and Michael Scher too. Hannes Dacker as well, of course, our young new gen. We're also losing Marcus Wildauer. He's going to Canyon. A good signing for them. He's not quite a good fit, I don't feel, with our team, but he is very talented. So we'll keep an eye on him, as well as Seb Schoenberger, who's a good climbing domestique. He goes to HKSI Pro Cycling Team. And of course, we said goodbye to Marcus Burkhardt in the previous episodes. He's been a great helper, and maybe we can try and get him on the staff for next season too. But looking now at all the other transfers, you can see AG2R losing the likes of Mühlberger. Hannanen as well is a big loss for them. But their big signing is Pello Bilbao as their new GC leader. They still have Bardet, so a good pairing now with Bardet, and Bilbao with Parapentra and Champoussin developing nicely too. Let's move on then to Alpecin Phoenix, and they haven't really made too many signings right here apart from the legend Charles Planet joining the team, but really not pushing on, and it does seem they may be losing their spots as a World Tour team with Van der Poel still leading them. We have Astana, whose big signing is Sam Bennett, but they also sign Cees Bol, Elia Viviani Halvorsen and Lipins, what a sprint train they are going for right now. Tyson as well, who's a very good young sprinter. They sign the new world champion time trialist TJ Van Garderen too. They also get Morkow to join Sam Bennett. So really going for the sprints now, it seems, kind of transferring their team, you can see, from a GC team really to a sprinting team compared to last season, whilst they lose Jakob Fusang, Aaron Burrow and a few others, including Pronsky to us. Also Harold Tiada, who's a very good young climber. On to Bahrain McLaren, and big changes here because they lose Pouls, Bilbao and Mikel Landa, as well as Mark Cavendish, who is retiring from the sport. However, Michael Matthews and Castroviejo are their big signings. Matthews is now their highest ranked rider as well. Then they also sign Battistella and Dainese as well. Two riders I was actually looking at to sign for this season. So an interesting transfer window as well for Bahrain McLaren, but they don't look particularly strong ahead of next season. Bora Hansgrohe, and they have 22 riders, it would seem, with 9 departures, including King Peter Sagan. He leaves for Trek Segafredo, but we have Kemner leaving to us, Jonas Aguirre leading to Cofidis, Schelling is gone, we're getting Gamper as well. You can see that other riders they are losing too. And their big signing is Mikel Landa to be their GC leader alongside Emmanuel Buchmann and Simon Yates. So a big trio now for Bora Hansgrohe with Schachmann, Ackermann and Delgado as well. The really talented Spanish new gen. Then we go to the Koenig Quickstep. They lose Sam Bennett, as we knew. Yannick Steimler is a rider I really wanted. We just didn't quite have enough resource points or dossier points to sign him to. But they lose quite a few riders, including Cataneo, who is now 30 years old. But Quickstep's big signing, as you can see, is Alex Kristoff. Moving on, EF Pro Cycling lose Sergio Higuita, who joins Movistar. I love that, a really realistic signing. I can see Higuita going there at some points in real life. They also lose Magnus Cort, Halvorsen, Guerrero as well to Ineos, a very good rider, and puncher is Guerrero. You can see their other losses with Ruta Pouls and Turgi, their big signings. Also good to see David Decker finally make it to World Tour in this save. Not too many signings for FDJ and not the best kind of transfer window either. They lose Madawar to Trek Segafredo, who is a good rider. Also my favourite rider of them all, Bruno Armorai. He leaves as well to Vital Concept B&B Hotels. And they bring in Gorka Izagirre, who's now 34 years old. We'll see how FDJ get on next year, but really keeping their core together with Kung, Damar, Godu and Thibaut Pinot. And also I've noticed Gino Mada is here, now a 76 mountain. Of course, we had to let this guy go in season 1 and his contract is up next year. Maybe we could try and reunite Gino Mada with T-Mobile. The Ineos Grenadiers lose Castro. They lose Puccio as well after he's been at the team for some time. That is for sure. If you take a look here, he's been there since 2012 at least. Also Lawless, not really a good fit in that team, whilst they sign Tony Martin, now 36 years old, as a domestique with Guerrero, Max Stedman as well. But this Ineos team really is looking very stacked still in the GC and the time trials, to be fair, with Hindley joining the team last year, Gegenhardt developing, Sivakov too. Very, very strong team they have at Ineos, as we know, whereas the Israel Startup Nation, with quite a few changes, losing Neerlands and Hofstetter mainly. Also, we have Greipel apparently leaving to join them as well. We'll see how that plays out. But we have Jesus Rada and Aaron Burrow, the big signings for Israel Startup Nation. Oldani is a pretty talented sprinter too. You can see their full squad for next year with Leknesund as well, really developing too. If we take a look, 79 time trial on the 22-year-olds. Lotto Sudal, not too many transfers to be fair, because they lose Tyson and Oldani, two very good talents for them, whilst they sign Eric Vetter, who is a very talented Hungarian from Kometa, already 73 overall. Good to see Peter Seri joining them as well, but really they have their same core from the beginning of the save. Mitchelton Scots have made some interesting moves for sure, bringing in Guillaume Martin as really a new GC leader to partner Adam Yates, with Simon Yates now at Bora Hansgrohe. Berwick as well is a very talented rider from Australia. You can see their full signings there. Losing though Lucas Hamilton, who could be a big loss for them, and a few younger riders too. Moving on to Movistar, who have lost Marc Soler, I instantly see, to Cofidis, and that is a very interesting move. Again, quite a realistic move. I can see that happening at some point if Marc Soler's kind of career stalls a little bit at Movistar. Samitier is a big loss, I think. Aviti retires. Carrasero leaves, so quite a few changes here. 12 departures for Movistar, with a few retirements right there, with a few younger riders. Rubio leaving as well. We have Alba leaving too, but they do sign, as we know, Sergio Higuita, so he's really the Marc Soler replacement, but still Movistar struggling to rebuild their team, where they had, of course, Quintana, Valverde, Landa. We know how strong they were just a few years ago, although I will say Barcelo is a very good kind of young rider who could develop pretty nicely. And they have a lot of pretty average young riders here, taking a risk on Movistar by signing these guys, but we'll see if any of these guys develop really nicely. New Balance as well, who used to be CCC, they lose Ilnur Zakarin to Jumbo-Visma, as well as Attila Volta to Uno X. That is an interesting move, I would say, for him in his young career. A very good rider, as we know. But they sign this new gen, a climber from Lithuania, Nedas. He's 77 mountain, but 67 hill and 78 recovery as well on that man. But they have Magnus Cort and Samitier as their big signings. Not too much going on, to be fair, at NTT. They lose Sobrero, another rider I was potentially trying to bring in. Battistella as well. So a few talents leave NTT. Pozzo retires too, but they do replace him with Lucas Hamilton. I think this Polish sprinter could be pretty good as well for them. And they bring in Charlie Kortman, a big legend of my channel. Team Jumbo-Visma don't make too many big moves. They bring in Chad Hager to really replace, I think, Tony Martin. Good replacement there, although he is already 33. Whilst Zakarin as well could be some good support for the likes of Roglic or even Van Aert if he podiums another Grand Tour. And look at that kind of diagram right there. They are so strong in every area, whereas Team Sunweb have taken a step back, it would seem, in the sprints, because they lose Michael Matthews, they lose Bull, Cantor, Pedersen, but they also lose Mark Hershey again to Trek Segafredo. I cannot wait to see their team going into next season. Quite a lot of losses there for Team Sunweb. However, they have reinvested somewhat, signing Steimler and Jakob Fuglsang, but he is 36, so really not a great transfer window, I would say, for Sunweb. They've definitely taken a step back, maybe giving a bigger leadership role to the likes of Niels Eckhoff, who's developing pretty well. And here we go. Trek Segafredo, what a transfer window it has been for the American outfits. They've lost a total of 13 riders right here. Of course, losing Ciccone to us, but they've lost Izagirre, Hanau, Lipins, Mosca, who's pretty good, I believe, too. But they've replaced these guys with Mark Hershey, Peter Sagan, Madouar, Cataneo. But those two, Sagan and Hershey, really, really nice signings. Some really good signings as well for them, with the likes of Valerio Conti. Arme de Ghent is pretty strong as well. Nielsen Paulus, a good young American climber too. And now they are led by Hershey, Sagan and Mads Pedersen, with still Mollema, the runner-up of the Tour de France. They have Dylan Toons on their team. Nibali, Porte is still here. Quinn Simmons is developing nicely. This team is absolutely unreal ahead of next season. On to UAE then, and they've lost the likes of Rui Costa, going to FAPAL at 35 years old. I really like that move. Again, one I could see happening in real life at some stage, with Christoph also leaving, as we've already seen. They have signed the likes of Mosca and Bonifacio and a few other Italians, so not the worst transfer window because they still have Pogacar, Philipsen and Gaviria. So that rounds out all of the World Tour teams. I'll scroll through quickly the Conti Pro teams as well. As we know, Bruno is joining B&B to partner Brian Coquart. I really like Bruno. I don't know how much I can mention it, but he is a class rider. We have Van Hooijdonk joining Bingo right there. Lawless, as we've seen, teams up with Kaja. I think Circus have made some good signings here, signing the likes of Eduardo Delgado a young American time trialist, but we also have Simon Clark and quite a few good riders joining Circus whilst they lose Danny Van Poppel to Novo Nordisk. Moving on, we have Cofidis, who've signed Jonas Gere and Marc Soler, as well as Thomas Buda, who's developing to a very good sprinter. They did lose the likes of Viviani, Harada, Marsan, Barcelo, but they have made some good signings. It will be very interesting to see Marc Soler lead this team. We know Efapau have signed Rui Costa. If we go further on, you can see Mulberger has joined Ribble. They have Captain Price as well from YouTube Pro Cycling, but they have managed to hold on again to young Tom Pidcock, who is developing pretty well in this save. Sport Vlaanderen, no massive moves for them. We have the Chinese team who came up to Conti Pro last season. They've signed Tesfastion, I think that's how you say it, the Eritrean sprinter. He's pretty talented, that is for sure. We know how we look ahead of next season. RKS Samsic, not the best transfer window to be fair. They sign Malucelli as a sprinter. Direct Energy sign Hofstetter again. I think that's a pretty good signing to be fair, as one of their leaders. Then we have Uno X, who've lost a few of their kind of big signings. Hulegard is a good sprinter. They've lost him. And a few of their other Norwegian talents. They've lost Roland, as well as Luis Leon Sanchez, who retires from the sport. But Attila Volta, what a signing for the mainly Norwegian outfits. Vini Zabu have signed Sergio Hanau. I quite like that move, to be fair, joining, of course, the Italian team. And you can see they've signed Fancelli, Fiorelli, so some good signings here for Vini Zabu, also the younger Viviani brother. And so the world of cycling is developing pretty nicely in front of us. Trek Segafredo really evolving into a superpower, I would say, alongside the likes of Ineos, the Quinn and Quickstep, and of course Jumbo Visma. But we're about to see officially if we're going to make it into World Tour next season. Here we go, then we get our first look at the email right here. Our division for 2022 is officially going to be World Tour. We make it as the 17th best team in the world. Movistar just stay in as well, and we have made it a 3-season rise and we're in the World Tour. I am so happy about that. Fast forward 3 months and we are into January 2022 and Season 3, and T-Mobile Bianchi are a World Tour outfit. It is so good to have made the transition over the 3-year period. First year as a pure Conti team, we then made it to Conti Pro and then straight into World Tour. We definitely deserved it after our great performance, I think, last season, in fairness. And I can instantly see Giulio Ciccone, Kemner have joined the team, and the other guys, Pronsky, Marco Brenner as well. And Ciccone and Moscon have now made it to a 76 overall. I think they were 75 at the end of last season. I do also see some other growth from some other riders too. So we're looking absolutely brilliant. And by the way, I will try and get the rider heads correct. So we have Taberi in the T-Mobile jersey. I'll try and do that with Kemner, Moscon, Ciccone and the rest ahead of the next episodes. And some of you may already see, but in the bottom left, we do have a new jersey. A massive shout out to Tom for doing this jersey for me. I'll leave a link to his showroom in the description below on the Gruppetto. He does a variety of brilliant jerseys, real jerseys and fancy jerseys such as this one. So it's very similar to the original jersey, but nice to have a variant as you would have in real life, I guess, as you progress forward in time. So yeah, really happy. Let me know what you think of our new jersey. However, that is not all, because we have some big sponsor changes ahead of Season 3 and some big jersey changes as well. So I'll go through in alphabetical order of the World Tour. We have AG2R Citroën, who still have the same name. However, I have given them their new real life jersey, which is quite controversial, I think. It hasn't gone down too well. I don't love it myself, but I thought we'd throw it in game right here. Astana, they have the same jersey. We have Bahrain Victorious though, who have moved to a very nice white design. Really a big fan of this jersey, and I think they have had that name changed to Bahrain Victorious as they're doing in real life. Bora Hansgrohe moved to a all black design. It's really a more modern look than their current jersey, I think. I really am a big fan of this one. The Koinink Quickstep have moved to their real life jersey. Again, I really like this jersey, so I thought we'd throw it in game. EF Pro Cycling have kept their name, but they have a very nice new jersey, new variant of their previous jersey. I'm a big fan of that one. And then, moving on, they made a lot of signings last season. Trek Segafredo have been bought by Facebook, and they're now called Facebook Trek. What do you guys think of their jersey? I can't wait to see the likes of Sagan, Mark Hershey, and their previous riders, the likes of Bauke Mollema, in that jersey. They're going to be a dominant force this year, that is for sure. Groupama FDJ, again, I went for their real life jersey. I think I quite like that design. The Ineos Grenadiers have a little variant. They have some new kind of red marks on their sleeves. I think Israel Startup Nation have stayed the same. Jumbo Visma have a little variation. I think that's another one by Tom. A really nice kind of yellow and black design. We then go to Lotto Soudal, and they have gone for this really kind of outlandish design. Not outlandish, but really stands out with the red background. Clearly sponsored by Nike. Mitchelton Scots have kept their jersey. I like that one from last year. Same with Movistar. But moving on, we now have NTT Patagonia, and this jersey is so nice. I have quite a lot of Patagonia clothes actually, and I think this jersey was done by Stikel Design. I'll leave his link as well in the description, and it's been recreated for PCM. I am a massive fan of that jersey. And then we have a big sponsor change because New Balance are no longer. We now have Team Spotify coming to the World Tour. They have taken over from New Balance, which once were CCC. So they have a really nice jersey, and really exciting to have them and a big new sponsor, big company in World Tour. We have Sunweb Allianz as well, which I consider putting in DSM, which I think is Sunweb's new real life sponsor. I really am a big fan of this jersey though. So Sunweb continue on. And then finally, alongside T-Mobile Bianchi, we have a nice new jersey for UAE too. So we have the full new look of the World Tour, and this is just going to be so great to see across the season. I cannot wait to see all of these jerseys in game. We have a few more changes in Conti Pro as well. We no longer have Arkea Samsic. We have gone for Peugeot Clarion, who have taken over the new sponsor of Arkea, and I really like that jersey. Good to see a big team such as Peugeot in Conti Pro. And Team Total are no longer either. They have gone back to Europcar, who, if I'm not mistaken, used to sponsor the very team. I have memories of the likes of Pierre Rolland riding for this team once upon a time. And then moving on, Ribble made a few big signings you may have noticed earlier on. It's because they have been taken over by Red Bull, a massive new sponsor again. Tom Pidcock is in this squad. His big personal sponsor, I think, is Red Bull. So we went for Red Bull taking over Ribble, and I expect to maybe see some of those guys, those big sponsors, trying to push into World Tour in the coming years. But anyhow guys, I hope you liked that little touch. I really enjoyed changing up the jerseys and sponsors as well as the seasons progress. Really makes it feel more unique and realistic too. So cannot wait to see these throughout the year. So I will take a quick look at the calendar, and we're pretty much going to focus on the pure World Tour races this year. We have added a few more, but I probably will play them off camera. So we will start the season in Australia because, to be honest, we don't have a big squad. We have 22 riders right now. It's not enough to focus on loads of other races too, but it should be fine to spread those guys across all of the World Tour races, including all 3 of the Grand Tours. And I did use the PCM Career Explorer again. I'll leave a link in the description for that if you're interested. I've mentioned it before on the channel to create the planning, and I've gone through this and kind of made my own adjustments too. We also have a training camp coming up just to try and increase the fitness a little bit in early January. But yeah, you can see the big riders, Kemna, Ciccone. I'm trying to keep their early seasons very, very quiet because we need these guys to focus on the Grand Tours. So you can see the early season planning. I've gone up to the Giro d'Italia, where I'm going to try and take the likes of Kemna, Ciccone, Moscon too, so we can really try and focus on really what is the team's home Grand Tour. There's no Grand Tour in Germany. However, our co-sponsor is Italian, of course, Bianchi. So I really want to try and focus on putting in a great performance at the Giro. So bringing Moscon, Ciccone and Kemna hopefully can do that. I will also show you the sponsor screen right here. So we have some pretty good confidence, of course. Haven't really got into the season just yet, but our biggest goals are focused around Italy and Germany. They want us top 10 at Milan San Remo, top 5 at the Giro, which are our 2 big goals. But anyhow, guys, that'll round out this kind of off-season, season review and progression into season 3 episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Smash that like button if you did, and if you're looking forward to this season, tell me what you thought in the comments below, and drop a sub to my channel if you are new. I will see you in the next one.